Hey guys, Joe at Small Home Off-Grid Prepping. Welcome to our channel. So you guys have seen on our one of our previous videos all the tomatoes we got in our garden, and we've been canning. We canned them, freezed them. We made sauce out of some of these things here. But today I have a special guest star. Today I'm here at my wife V from V's Cooking with Love, and she's going to be going through and she's going to be showing us how we do pressure canning. So enjoy the video, guys.
What an exciting project, canning tomatoes. We had few varieties of tomatoes in our garden this year, and they did truly amazing. We were so blessed. Every tomato we've planted produced more than we could ever imagine. Welcome to V's Cooking with Love channel. Yep, we're making it tomato day and we are cooking some tomatoes here, but we actually should be doing that on April 6th, National Tomato Day. So how about that party then? But since we have the abundance of it now, we will be canning it. And I'm using my pressure canner here. The brand that I have, it's Presto. You're gonna use wherever you have. You can use the bath canning and wherever the method you decide to do it with. I just want to show you a little bit of our garden. Actually, these tomatoes right here, they were surprise tomato. This tomato grew between my peppers and I kind of left it. I don't even know what it is. It wasn't something I planted, but this one branch had 17 tomatoes and it broke off in a storm. So here you have it. Aren't they wonderful? These are the San Maranzanos that are the best for the sauces, and we had truly abundance of those. I only planted 4 bushes of that kind, and you will see what I'm talking about, how much we end up with. But I also wanted to maybe introduce you to something new. I don't know if you heard about Everglades tomatoes. They are more of a native for Florida, and here in Florida they do amazing, and they are amazing. The taste, the sweetness, they are so great in the salad. I don't know what I'm gonna do when we run out of those. I'm going to be in trouble. We have had so many of those that you can just pick and pick, and it seems like never be done. The bushes are taller than I am. They do really, really well in Florida. If you are looking for humidity tomatoes, you see what I'm talking about. I would pick about this much every single day. This is more than we can eat. And this was one of the days of picking. We have had really abundance of the San Maranzano. You see, you would pick them about greenish still. In a couple of days, they would turn out to be nice and red. The Everglades tomatoes, they do last pretty good in the refrigerator as well, so you can space them out a little bit. But we still have so many of those out there anyway. Beefsteak tomatoes, they didn't do that well. So here you have our tomatoes. This is a 13-quart bowl that I gathered them with, and it's overflowing. It's quite heaping. They are the San Maranzano tomatoes. They come originally supposedly from Italy, but originally tomatoes, however, were brought from Peru by Spanish explorers to Europe, and they were introduced to Italy from Morocco. And Italians, they named them Pemi de Mori, means apple of the Moors. French called them Pomme de Morée, and that means apples of love, something like that. So let's cook. And of course, we will start with washing all these tomatoes. I end up using 150 of them out of this big group of tomatoes. I did not use them all. And you want to maybe wash them. I actually washed them in some with some little bit of a baking soda in the water and rinse them a couple of times really good too, and make sure that they are thoroughly washed. What I did with these is only dice them up. I didn't peel the skin. Go ahead and make your day. If you want to go that route, whatever you want to do with them, you can crush them, you can dice them, you can make a sauce out of them and can them that way. And I decided just to dice them and go from there later wherever I'm cooking with. I have a humongous pot here that I a little bit covered for a while to speed up the process, to bring them a little bit to simmer, because I simmer them on very low. I don't want to lose a lot of nutrients out of these tomatoes. And supposedly the pressure cooker provides that a little bit better than bath cooking. So you see, I cooked them to reduce the liquid out of them. They were quite juicy. I steamed out probably very close to 2 inches out of the liquid out of it. And when they were doing that, on the meantime, I was doing other stuff to be ready for canning. You want to gather all your tools for the lids and all that. The citric acid I'm adding here. You can add also lemon juice. I'll walk you through it. I have this little bowl here with vinegar. And also in the oven, I have my jars getting heat up too. You will be taking them out either on a towel or a cutting board like this to work with. So you see, when all this is simmering, you want to get yourself a head start. I have my pressure canner also getting ready too. You see my lids are simmering here, and you want to heat them up a little bit too. And all my tools are here for the magnetic for the covers, and little spatula here to stir things around. And I have a big mouth ladle for my jars, and later, you know, the lift for the jars. And like I said, on the meantime, I also have my oven going at 250, and I heated up my jars to make sure that they are warm, disinfected like everything else. You see, then I'm using 32 ounce, which is a 1 quart jars. I end up filling only 4 of those, and I froze the other half of the tomatoes. We eat a lot of tomatoes, so it was fine for me just to cook 4 of these and freeze the rest of the containers. So you will end up probably with 8 jars like that, if that's what you do with about that kind of tomatoes. And once you pour it, I was pouring that with a measuring cup. You're not supposed to use any kind of metal, it's not recommended. And the spatula that I'm using, it's also plastic to get rid of the air bubbles, which this is quite liquidy, so probably didn't have that much. To each jar, you will end up adding half a teaspoon of citric acid or 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, but the one that you buy in the store, not from the lemon that you can squeeze out. Each jar I'm wiping down with a little towel here that I dipped in a vinegar, and now I'm gonna be working with the lids. You use the magnetic mechanisms here, and you just set the top portion down and just kind of center it on your jar, because it needs to attach itself well. And when you're tightening them up, be very careful. It is very recommended not to over tighten, just enough for that lid to feel it that it grabbed. So just keep that in mind and do all those jars like that. I was trying to be quite fast with all these jars because you don't want to cool them off. My pressure canner was doing its job on another stove. I heated up the water in the pressure canner to 180 degrees, and I added 3 quarts of water to the bottom of it, and I put those jars in there and close the lid. Make sure you read your instructions if you're going with the pressure canner. It's very important to read those instructions. They're gonna vary a little bit, and you see my pressure was going up quite fast. So just get yourself familiar with your pressure canner. Again, I cannot stress this out. I'm cooking this on my other stove. I didn't want all that heat in close to 100-degree days right now in my house, so I was doing that on a secondary stove, like I said. And you see the pressure, it started growing quite fast. When I got below 10, I started reducing the heat to kind of start get the feeling of my stove where I need to be to maintain the pressure. Because here in Florida, since I'm on the flatlands, I only needed 11 psi's to get to and maintain that for about 20 minutes. I went slightly over that because I wanted to make sure that I don't go below, because if you go below, you will have to do your countdown all over again. And you see, you let the pressure canner release the pressure later, and like I said, read your instructions. But these cans, they already came out and they were bubbling for quite a while. You see, they are standing on my kitchen counter and they are still bubbling quite a bit. You want to let them rest for about 12 to 24 hours to get to that room temperature. It's funny how we call this pressure canner and you're not using any cans. But that's the name for it. I guess we should be calling it jarring instead of canning. Once they cool off, you want to take the rims off, the rings off the can of the jars, and you want to probably label them, and keep it in mind they only last in the jars 12 to 18 months. That's all. And of course, watch them later to make sure everything is okay, and while you're storing them in the pantry. But you see, those San Maranzano's tomatoes, they were really blessing. I hope you are growing your tomatoes, so get canning. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.